Well, if you've been stacking fiat the last few years, you've been right in the short term, but you're going to be definitely wrong in the long term. The dollar's been in a long-term downward trend for the last 30 years. We've had a little upward blip for the last few years. It looks like a long time because it's been 3 years, but you can see now the dollar's been going down a little bit, and the markets have been going down. Silver's holding about steady. It never really got down to that $10 doom and gloom, $8 stuff that people were talking about, and it's just how it's going to be, I think. So, some of the fat cats up there are holding a lot of currencies. And you know what? Some of the currencies they might be holding is some of the currencies right now probably the better to hold. It would be the ones attached to commodities. But the commodities themselves are, I think they've already hit bottom. The thing is now the equity's got to hit bottom. And you know what that means? That Janet Yellen's going to have to freaking push that QE button and do a lot of stimulus, which isn't going to work because all the time the stimulus always goes into too big to fail. Now, I'm going to tell you a few reasons besides other reasons I stated in the past that are reality why we're not actually going to go into a recovery and why there's some serious problems. Really what the problem is, people just can't wake up. Even the ones that are waking up sometimes are just too busy involved in giddy rumors. Looking on the net for what's the latest conspiracy theory versus getting on hands-on things. Hey, I just got my, by the way, I just want to say that I just got my, what do you call that thing? The Perfection old-time fuel oil, diesel fuel, and primarily kerosene heater for the winter. A practical type, survival type thing to have, and probably just a practical thing to have in general. So, not everything should be revolved around silver, but it should be revolved around real assets and the things that you actually need in your daily life. But since silver's been money forever, let's assume that it's going to go back to money in a real sense, and that the people playing these shenanigans are going to find out a harsh, cold reality that it's going to come back on them. But, I also realize that the elite are very much, like I pointed out before, the isotopes, the emeralds, the real estate that a lot of people with a lot of money have. They do have real assets. They don't just sit on a pile of cash. When they say somebody's worth something, it's mainly in real assets. They have some liquidity, but you always need the cash to buy stuff. That's going to be the currency of our nation for many years to come. But then again, that currency is not going to buy anywhere near as much as it has before, and that's where you're going to see your silver investment work out. And the people that just can't wake up, they're not going to wake up. But we're looking at it like a train wreck with the economy right now. It's never actually recovered. The recovery's mainly been in the stock market, and now you're seeing that start to implode because a lot of people bought stocks on margin. But one of the main things I could tell you that is reality, that there is no recovery, and there hasn't been a recovery. If you even go all the way back to the 80s to 2000, there was the population at a certain level and not in the labor force was a very small percentage of people that were workforce age or able-bodied workforce. There was a very small percentage of people that were not in the workforce. Today, it's almost like triple. I have the statistics in front of me, but there's different ranges they could show. They could show from 2009 to present 2000 to 2015. But even when you're looking from the 2 decades, or say from the early 80s to 2000, the situation has drastically changed, even from the situation to 2000 to 2015. Even 2000 to 2015, that was the end of the tech bubble, and you also had the real estate bubble. There was actually not that many people making that much money in other words, the middle class was getting crushed. In other words, certain people were making a lot of money in real estate and things like that, but the middle class was getting crushed. It's not going to be an easy ride. But, the thing is, I actually think that it could be an easy ride if you keep this in perspective. Go old school all the way. Hands-on. I've been busy with a lot of little projects. I've been sidelining a little projects that I want to do too, because I can actually just buy something already done, but I'm just the type of person, I'm too stubborn to ever do that type of shit. I don't know. I am stubborn, man. It's like if I can't figure it out on my own, it's like I got to get it way over my head before I actually ask somebody for help. It's just kind of I could actually just buy stuff and just say it's done, even if it's old school stuff. I can go out and buy a new old school car or whatever if I want anytime. But it's like, well, I guess I'm cheap too. You know, that's another thing. You got to watch your pennies. That's how the pennies grow into big things. The copper grows into silver, and the silver grows into gold. But I know old school is actually going to run the deal. And a lot of times, we got a lot of things coming up, even with. Well, I realize the elite are behind ISIS and the Muslim nations and Islam and stuff. I guess it's a method of control. I guess I got to say a little bit. A shout out to Ann Barnhart, not the one with the pink hair here. She should have pink hair because she's a radical. But it's not really. We're not living in a dreamland where by people are saying, all these problems that we have will just go away. It's just typical things that happen. Yeah, I don't think they are going to go away. Actually, I have a lot of respect. I just want to deviate a little bit here in a second because I tell you, I saw some stuff on Ann Barnhart, with her ripping the pages out of Quran, with marking it with bacon or something, raw bacon, and reading from it, all this stuff. But I started listening to what she said, and I actually looked in that book, the Quran. I says, it actually makes a lot of sense why the elite are behind that because it justifies a lot of things the elite like to do that a lot of people say is pretty sick, like really sick. Pedophilia, bestiality, I don't know, freaking whatever, man. I don't even want to say, it's all justified in that religion. So the elite probably love that religion because it justifies all their actions. But, it's not a dream that, when you look at it, things on television, you look things on the internet, actually the reality is coming up. But then again, don't panic. Because, again, this is the United States, this is the land of the hot blondes, in the UK is the land of Diana Dors. And we got the cult of Diana Dors to fight anything that comes our way. Now, another thing that's also a big indicator that the too bigs to fail are on the way out is that Hillary Clinton is getting hit. Nobody thought the old witch would get hit so bad, but she's getting it now because, not only was she a lousy Secretary of State, and Trump calls her out 100%, that she was a really lousy Secretary of State, but, the thing is that she jeopardized her national security to the max because she was trying to hide a lot of stuff she was doing illicitly, so she put the email server, with that small firm. So she figured, she'd get away with doing the stuff she was doing through the State Department and just delete the emails. But I guess the NSA got it. But, the problem is for the United States in general, see, that's not an issue that is just, her issue. It's an issue whereby we compromised all the security of every government, CIA, FBI, NSA employee out there because they had a back door to the entire State Department and Defense Department and Office of Personnel Records Management files. Which I think that these people like in China and Russia are just sitting on this information and they're going to be using it for the next 10, 20 years and it's actually going to hurt us a lot in the United States. So I'm telling you, as an individual, stand on your own 2 feet, use your own 2 hands to freaking build stuff and, fight the power because the power is not just going to be our elitists that screwed us up and screwed us over. It's going to be the ones from foreign governments. The witch is not the only problem. She actually made our enemies freaking a lot stronger. So that's another reason I was telling you to freaking stick with real assets like silver, motorcycles, beans, bacon, and bullets, fuel, firepower, and what else? Food. Yeah, food important. So, the thing is that a lot of people aren't thinking of all the essentials, and that's the reason I talk about silver, because silver is all the essentials. Now, who's the too bigs to fail that are freaking crapping out right now? J.P. Morgan. They're laying off 17,000 employees. I don't know if you heard that. Maybe you did hear that, but actually I saw this before because what's going on is a lot of the big brokerage houses are kind of like. It's not like their business is going away. What's going on is what happens is the people that work in there that are like the star performers, they're just going out on their own and opening up their own investment houses and their own little hedge funds and stuff like that and doing their own thing. It's actually, the business is not really going away. It's just being morphed into something else. The big names are kind of getting chopped down. It's just kind of going into a bunch of smaller names. So, but like, the thing is, when things like this happen, it doesn't really, like, change the whole world all of a sudden. That's the other thing. Now, another thing for the millennials, I'll tell you this. Now, I'm not even a Generation X. I'm actually a baby boomer, but, whatever the hell you label that shit. But, I'm a hard-working baby boomer, and I don't ever plan to retire, and I plan to actually start working out again that 3 hours a day I used to do, like a maniac, where people tell me, it's too freaking no good to do. But I got some health solutions for that because people were saying my heart was going to blow up. But I'll tell you about that in another separate video. Yeah, I used to do 3 hours a day, intensive cardio, from age, what the hell was that, up to, I think it was from 53 to 57. I did that for 4 years, 365 days a week. I got a little anorexic and everything. I was down at 7.8% body fat and every other shit thing, Actually, I don't have any videos of me when I was that skinny, but you can see in the videos I had for a couple years ago, I was less weight, but I might start doing that again. A lot of people told me to back off, but I'm probably going to go into that shit again just as a side note, and we'll probably get some videos out on that and show you what I'm doing, man, because this kid knows the discipline because this kid was disciplined motherfucker before I even got in the Marine Corps, okay? I was disciplined like crazy before that. But let me tell you this, the millennials are shit up the creek, SOL without a paddle. And the reason is the cost of education is way the hell up there. I'm showing this vagabond type lady with the the Beamer. I think that's a Beamer. With the boxes on the back packed up with all her crap and wearing the leathers and the denims. But I'm going to tell you the millennials are actually having a lot of problems because the schools, the colleges out there are big freaking ripoff, man. Like, you're not getting, like, for what you pay for college. That's probably that probably already is the bubble that's exploding. What you pay for college today is so ridiculous for what you could possibly get out of it. You'll be paying probably 10 years down the line. As a matter of fact, the IRS is going after people's Social Security for student loans from way back in the 60s or some shit in the 70s. You believe that? But the millennials are screwed. But then again, they're not screwed if they take another approach. Because a lot of times, people are ignoring some of the most simple things. But the millennials are screwed because the cost of education is really high. And then on top of it, you can't find a job in your field. So you got screwed on paying all this education. For what? Me, I could definitely find jobs in my field, but I don't want to do it because I'm accounting finance mainly, I'm actually just doing a hodgepodge of different things and trying to help people out. I'd rather do this kind of shit on YouTube. And I still work at the CPA firm every week. But I don't, push it, you know what I mean? And usually the guy says, you come in and do extra hours. I'm like, I don't want to. I'd rather be doing this shit for you guys out here, tell you the truth. But, it's kind of the type of person I am. Stand-up person. Actually, I'm a very trusted person, though. I've been a very trusted person in business. People trusted in me with a lot of shit. Very trusted. Because that's the type of person I am. And I think I got it from my dad, to tell you the truth. That guy was 100% Southerner, I can tell you that right now. That's what I really figured it out eventually. Man, you could trust that guy any which way from Sunday, and he's a good Samaritan and help you anytime there was. So, that's one reason I do this shit, and I don't play the suit and tie game or the highfalutin bullshit when I'm giving you silver updates. But, I can tell you the writing's really on the wall for the currencies, big time. I don't want to reference it again or show it again, but like Deagle.com, they're talking about the U.S. population going from like 320 million today, around there, 324 million, to 65 million within the next 10 years due to economic implosion, exodus, starvation, all this other doom and gloom shit. And I can tell you right now, maybe that's true. I don't think it's going to affect me. I don't think it's going to affect any biker chicks that are really hardcore and are hot. But, it's going to affect the phony baloney freaking yuppie types to the max. So I'm going to tell you that, stay true to the cause. If you're a fiat stacker and these people are telling you for many years, oh yeah, the fiat's the way to go. You guys are so stupid. You know what? Don't help those assholes. I'll tell you that right now. They were freaking shoving it. They were like, sticking it in your eye, sticking it in your face for freaking last few years that you're a jerk. Tell them to go to hell because you know what? I'll guarantee you they're the ones that jump on a bandwagon. And I'll leave you with this thought. This is one of the reasons you're going to make a lot of money on silver. The old-fashioned one word, greed. Not so much your greed. It was your patience and your fortitude and you putting up with a lot of criticism and garbage for the last few years. And you know what's going to happen? The people that see this freaking curve going up on silver say, as it starts going up, It's kind of staying flat now, but maybe it's recovering a little bit. But when it starts taking off, it takes off really, really hard on the end. That's when those greedy people that have been telling you you're a jerk, they're going to buy the stuff. And you can go sell it to them. That doesn't mean you're going to hold fiat, but that means you might get yourself, I don't know, you might go down to Countrywide Classics or something, just pick up, I just saw a 63 Ford Thunderbird convertible down there for $18,000. I was like thinking, wow, if I just plain spare change, I think it would be in my driveway right now. So, not that I can't afford it or nothing, but I'm just telling you that, I would do it if that's a really, really insignificant amount of money. That's the way I'm going to do it. So I'm going to tell you, though, just be patient with this deal because, you're going to see a lot of stuff change, and the United States is probably going down a lot further than even the elite expect because of stupid-ass Hillary Clinton, the witch. All right? I'm going to tell you that right now. And people are not going to wake up, especially even a lot of retired people that are 60s, 70s, man. They're in their own world, man. They kind of know about this shit, but they just kind of like ignore it, and they say, but they don't do anything. A lot of these retired people, they live in these places that, you're not allowed to do anything because you're in a homeowners association, and they don't want to do anything. Even though back they could. I could be retired for crying out loud, even just about, I mean, I'm in the 6-0s now. But I can tell you right now, man, I'm never retiring, man. I'm going to be a hardcore freaking workout son of a bitch. And I'm going to fight the New World Order. I'm going to fight the yo-yos coming over here telling us what to do. And I'm going to stick to my guns all the way, baby. So, anyway. But, I got fiat money. I save up cash and all that garbage. Physical cash and all that kind of shit. But I'll tell you right now, it's a matter of, where do you put most of your eggs in? And, the place not to put most of your eggs in is the physical cash. That was maybe the place to put it in maybe for a few years. But, nobody could have predicted that exactly. But I can tell you one thing. The dollar is in a long-term downward trend for the last 30 years. And that trend is going to start continuing. And now that it starts coming down again, it's going to hit a new low. It's not going to be the low that it was before. It's going to be a lower low than it's ever been, ever. Might take a couple years, but that's what's going to happen. But from here on in, and that actually is going to lead to more problems with Russia, more bullshit going on. So, I don't know. I'll tell you one thing, man. Just stick with the real assets, and I'm going to be getting up here with what do you call that? Perfection heater update here, man. I just got that damn thing in the mail, and we'll take a look at that and see how you can survive the winter, which I think is going to be extremely cold. All right, but just to sum it up, there has never been as low participation rate in the markets, labor participation rate. I'm not talking about unemployment rate, as there is now. Also, used to be if you get an education, you got a good job. Now it's like you get a good education, you're getting ripped off way more than you used to, per even in inflationary dollars, and you're still unemployed. That's telling you something else there. Plus, the too bigs to fail, like J.P. Morgan, they laid off 17,000 people. And of course, I told you about. There's never been a time, even in past history, where so many people have bought stocks on margins, which means on credit. So, which means once it starts coming down, it forces them to sell. And we've never had such a security breach in history as with Hillary Clinton. That's another thing. I think that's the unexpected. So, I don't know about the Deagle prediction of going from like 324 million to 65 million population in the United States in the next 10 years. But it doesn't, I actually have to agree that, I hate to say it, man, I really don't want to say this doom and gloom shit, that it's probably going to come down somewhat. And that is, in itself is going to be a lot. In other words, you're going to feel that a lot. If there's less people in the United States, that means the economy is really, really, really bad. I think we're going into what you call the Great Depression, but it's going to be the greatest depression. The one they were talking about years ago that never quite happened. They kind of stalled it off, and we're going to get hit with that. So, and, I think that when this does happen, the only ones that are going to survive, like I said, are the ones that are like hardcore, and they can freaking ride, and they can freaking handle the situation. Because most people are just too lazy to get up off their dead ass and do anything. That's really the situation all the way. Most people are too lazy to get off their dead ass and do anything. This kid will do stuff. I just got so many projects on my head. I want to get on that El Camino and freaking start doing the rust on that. But then I got the heater today. I want to do a video on that. I'll show you what I'll see. I don't even know if it'll be out today, but we'll see what's going on with that deal. And got a lot of shit to do. So, and like I said, you know, a lot of people used to tell me, "Oh, you could pay somebody." I says, I don't like paying anybody to do that shit. I mean, I got people over here say, I'm going to be out there cutting the lawn for like hours with a little 22-inch mower, right? You know what it is? I could get a ride-on mower, but then I said I can get no exercise. And I said, I could pay somebody to do it, but then somehow I just don't like that because it doesn't, it makes me dependent upon them. You know? That's the kind of person I am. But then again, it always saves some pennies here and there. But that's the kind of person I am. It's not a matter if I can afford it or not. You know? So, anyway. I'd rather spend my money saving cats. Even if it's a black cat and a witch hat. So anyway, over and out. And just want to give you a quick update on this deal. Don't lose the faith. Don't, you know. Shit is, you know, I hate to say it, man. This is what I was stalling for something because something was on the top of my head. I know I just want to leave you with this thought. I know I put out several videos about the meteor bullshit hitting the earth. Now, I don't want to call it meteor bullshit hitting the earth, but I'm going to tell you this. I noticed I said to myself, but this is something else because silver's about survival. It's about survival in the whole 9 yards. And, you know, it'll just blow up those assholes suit and ties talking about silver because I don't like those jerks. But let me tell you this. The meteor, if, you know, that thing is like a big rumor monger thing in some ways. But I know there's a couple factual things where we're going through the Milky Way where there's more meteors and all this kind of shit and asteroids and stuff that can hit the Earth. And it's a possibility. I think if something happens, it's going to be a nuclear explosion with blue beam technology. I want to tell you, that's why I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's actually going to be a meteor. I think it's going to be, people are going to see it coming in, and it's going to be a nuclear explosion, but it's not going to be a real meteor. That's what I think is going to happen. You know why I think that's going to happen? Because it was on the original Illuminati playing cards. Call that a conspiracy, but I pay attention to those original Illuminati playing cards. I don't know when it's going to happen. It could be a few years from now. I don't know. But keep that in mind, because I think it'll be a super duper huge false flag. Got it? All right, over and out. Bye.